wanted to take some time before we get started to talk through how to get the most out of the program. And in order to do that, let me tell you a little bit about what we're going to be covering in the program. So I'm working with the assumption that you either are a coach who wants to work in business, or you would like to be a coach who wants to work in business. And what we're going to do is we're going to break that into two parts. So the first part of the program, we're going to look at the art and science of coaching, and in particular, coaching from the inside out, coaching from a particular understanding of the mind and how the mind works, and how understanding how the mind works impacts performance. And then in the second part of the program, we're going to look specifically at the implications of that understanding in business. We're going to look at the game of business. We're going to look at the art of leadership. We're going to look at decision making. We're going to look at problem solving, creativity, and innovation. We're going to look at performance and productivity. We're going to look at how you handle stress and pressure, and how the executives that you'll be coaching handle stress and pressure. And we're going to be looking at life beyond the game, at sort of the area that's normally talked about as sort of life-work balance. And when I say that executive coaching is an art and a science, the science is that there are principles behind how human beings operate. And these principles are as pre-written as the principle of gravity. In other words, gravity works every time, whether you know it or not, whether you believe in it or not. It is 100% predictive. It is 100% explanatory. If I take something and I drop it, you know what's going to happen every time because you have an understanding of the principle of gravity. Electricity is the same thing. You can't see it. Nobody really quite would know how to define it, but we can see its effects. Magnetism is another principle in nature where it's mysterious and nobody quite understands it, but it's observable and we can see it by its effects. Well, in the same way, there are principles behind how human beings operate, and it's true for all of us. It's nothing to do with how we were brought up. It's nothing to do with what we believe. It's nothing to do with what job we have. And understanding those fundamental principles behind human functioning makes a huge difference in how well we function. Now, as a coach, the value of understanding principles, particularly universal principles, is they're going to be true for every single person you work with. So you're not going to need one set of techniques for this kind of executive and one set of techniques for this kind of a leader. You're not going to need a different understanding for men than for women. You're not going to need to have a different set of tools for senior executives to junior executives. You're not going to need different ideologies for people who work in a corporate setting as opposed to entrepreneurs. Universal principles literally means universal. They are true for all human beings. As one of my colleagues once said when asked by an executive how he could be sure that these principles would apply for him, he said, well, unless your company is entirely staffed by squirrels, these principles are going to be relevant. And so that's the science part. Now the art, well, that's going to be on you. As you begin to put these things into action, as you begin to actually show up and talk to other human beings and influence and impact them, well, you're going to develop your artistry. But your understanding of the principles is going to be the solid ground on which you develop your art.